What's going on, guys? This is Tyler from myclashraid, and I'm very excited to bring you today's video. What is the best defense in the game? So before I go any further, I have to thank Austin Emmons for sending me this Excel document that is beautifully color coded. That saved me a huge amount of time when making this video, so thank you so much for that. And don't worry, I double checked all the numbers. Now at first glance it might seem like all we have to do is take the damage per second for every defense, throw that together in Excel, and we're done. If that's all you want to see, here's the graph. The air defense takes a commanding lead, with the Inferno Towers not too far behind, and the Teslas, Cannon, Archer Towers, Expos all very close together. I'm going to use the Inferno Towers multiple target defense for the entire video just to keep things simple. But right away we can see our first major problem. Air defenses are great and obviously do a crazy amount of damage per second, but are they really the best defense in the game? No. They only target 5 out of 18 total troops. So here's where we need to change things up. Obviously, there is a good reason to upgrade your air defenses, but they're not quite the best defense in the game. So, obviously, there's much more to this best defense thing than just damage per second. But just how much do we want to factor in? Things can get really crazy, really complex, really fast if I try to tackle too much data. We could factor in how many max lightning spells it takes to destroy a defense and how much space that defense takes up, but that would be a little over the top for this video. So I'm going to focus on 4 main factors: a defense's damage per second, its ability to target air and ground troops, splash damage, and finally a defense's range. Now, range might seem not that necessary, but when you compare an Expo's range to that of a Tesla, it becomes apparent that this truly is an important factor. Hit points is an important factor too when you realize that level 4 Expos has 2700 hit points and a level 8 mortar only has 750. While yes, this is a big factor, it's not fair to factor in hit points with the damage side of a defense. The numbers just don't really work out because damage and hit points are total opposites. But I will show the graph for defense hit points next to the final graph, so you can take that into account when you're thinking about your new favorite defense. So to make sure everyone understands the results of my final graph, I'm going to do a quick walkthrough of the steps I took to get there. First off is the defense's ability to target air and ground troops. There are 18 total troops in the game, 5 of them air, 13 ground. So if a defense can attack only air troops, its damage per second is multiplied by 5 divided by 18 because it can only attack 27% of the troops in the game. If a defense can target only ground troops, it is multiplied by 13 divided by 18 or 72%. And if a defense attacks both air and ground troops, its damage per second is multiplied by just 1. Now for the defenses that do splash damage, I took their damage per second and multiplied it by 3. That seemed like the fairest number. Obviously, a wizard tower can take out over 10 barbarians at once, but splash damage does nothing against a golem. So I figured that was the fairest way to do it. Next, I factored in the range. Now, the average range was just below 10 tiles, so I decided to make each range a decimal. Tesla has a range of 7, so its damage per second is multiplied by 0.7. The Expo has a range of 11, so its damage per second is multiplied by 1.1, and so on. From there, I landed on the most accurate representation of a defense's attacking ability. Ba-boom! Now you can see that the Inferno Towers have taken a commanding lead. That's because they can hit 5 targets at one time, they attack air and ground troops, and have an average range. And in second place, surprisingly, we have the Wizard Tower. This is because although the Wizard Tower doesn't have the best range or the most powerful hit, it can attack both air and ground troops and do splash damage. The Wizard Tower is followed closely by the Archer Tower, Air Defense, Expo, Tesla, and Cannon. Lagging behind, we have the mortar. Now, the mortar isn't that bad. Remember, it also stuns troops and slows them down. Unfortunately, there just isn't a good way to factor that in on a spreadsheet. Now, as I promised, here is the hit points graph for every defense. Not many surprises here, just shows that the Expos have a crap ton of hit points, and the Inferno Towers are still pretty badass. Everything else is about even. Now, I know what you're thinking. Wow, Inferno Towers are the best. I am totally rushing my town hall so I can get them. No, do not do that. Your farming will be horrible. If you're even thinking about doing that, you need to watch my video right here of why you don't rush your town hall. So the main reason Inferno Towers look so badass on this graph is because you only have 2 of them in your base. Remember, you have 7 Archer Towers at Town Hall 10. Now, if I were to graph the collective damage a base can do, factoring in all 7 Archer Towers, 4 Wizard Towers, 2 Inferno Towers, and so on, that graph would look like this. And yes, I did factor in correctly when you get extra cannons and defenses as you upgrade your Town Hall. That's why the left side of this graph looks a little bumpy and kinda odd. Now, I know I left out a lot of factors when talking about the best defense for a maxed out base, like cost, time of building, and all that stuff, but I just wanted to help drive home the fact that Archer Towers and Cannons, when properly upgraded, can beat out Inferno Towers. So if you're just looking for one defense standing by itself, then the Inferno Tower is by far and away the best defense in the game. However, just because you have level 3 Inferno Towers doesn't mean it's the best option for your base. I hope you enjoyed this video, and if you did, make sure to subscribe because I've got a lot more exciting explanation videos coming in the future. Make sure to check out my other explanation videos by clicking on the playlist link in the annotation at the end title sequence. Thanks for watching, guys, and as always, clash on.